All right, thank you. For the next item, I have a brief, comprehensive redistricting update and would certainly ask that Mr. Sorensen provide any remarks to where we are in that process and then open up the floor to board members should you wish to comment or have questions. Mr. Sorensen?
Thanks, Dr. Cashwell. Good afternoon, board members. It's good seeing you guys again, even if it's virtually, but it's nice to see you again. So for redistricting on April 6th, in response to the governor's stay-at-home order, the school division did announce that we were suspending the redistricting process until a later date when we could re-engage with the community. So as you guys know, we had a great redistricting committee. They worked really hard, produced two feasible maps that you now have with you to review. So when the process resumes, the board will have these options as the basis for the resumed process, as well as any updated data that may be available at that time. So the division will announce a new timeline when it's appropriate, and of course we will share that timeline with the community as well as any new data that we have as we move forward. But at this point, we do not have a timeline to share with the community. So that's my update, and I'm glad to answer any questions that you have.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Sorensen. So good to see you as well, sir. Thank you and your team for all of your hard work around the district. And we know it's been a heavy load to lift, but you all have lifted it so admirably, and we do say thank you. I'm going to start with Ms. Atkins. Do you have any questions or comments?
First, there's no questions, all comment and feedback. So thank you, Mr. Sorensen, for your update. I do want to thank all of the committee members again, just for all of your time and all of your effort. For those committee members representing Sandston, Highland Springs, and Varina, thank you for giving your time to me in our telephone conversations over the past 2 weeks. Something that board members committed to do was reaching out to committee members to listen to their concerns and listen to their solutions as well. And so Varina district families and those on the committee, I have heard you, and I do agree there are not large impacts to the two maps that we are reviewing, and that the needs more in Varina, Sandston, and Highland Springs are more about resources than moving students in my particular district, and I do agree with you. And so I want you to know that you are heard, and I really do agree. So again, Mr. Sorensen, thank you for your update. Chairman Cooper, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Atkins. Next, Mrs. Kinsella.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Sorensen, and thank you for your update. As called for at the last minute, I too contacted each of the redistricting committee members for the Brooklyn district. I contacted each one by phone and actually connected directly with all but one, who I will continue to try and connect with. I thanked each of them for their volunteerism, their service to the committee, and listened to specific feedback that they had to map options D4 and E4. Most of the feedback actually was covered in the redistricting survey done by Mr. Cropper, but they did provide some additional guidance that I will share with board members whenever we resume discussing redistricting. So once again, thank you to everyone who served on the committee. So that's all, Reverend Cooper.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Kinsella. Next, Mrs. Ogden.
Just a quick thing. I too have been reaching out to members of the committee. I've not been quite as successful as Ms. Atkins and Kinsella reaching everyone yet, but I will, just a little more time. We can notice based on our emails that people are still really interested in what we're going to do on this redistricting plan. And if you all noticed, we got an email earlier just saying, they were nervous about this even being on the agenda today. And I think we have a lot of options before us as to how we can proceed. And I just hope we can get to it as soon as possible once we can all meet again. But for now, yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ogden. Ms. Shea.
Like my colleagues, I've reached out to my committee members, and I just wholeheartedly thank them for all of their just hours and hours of work on this. I have been able to debrief with quite a few of the Tuckahoe committee members, and they've given me some really good feedback and possible solutions to noodle on, so I appreciate their efforts there, and we'll continue to reach out to the members that I have not heard from.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Shea.
Reverend Cooper, I don't mean to interrupt. Christy Kinsella, if you would please acknowledge that we received all the public feedback and just acknowledge that quite a bit of it was related to redistricting, if we could just thank those folks.
I was on item 9.90 is public forum.
Okay.
I was actually going to mention there.
Okay.
In regards to feedback. Yeah, no, it's okay, but thank you for your acknowledgement. So we'll definitely, I'll speak to it there.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Superintendent, quick question. To Mrs. Osborne's point, Mr. Sorensen stated that there is no definitive timeline for us to resume the work in regards to redistricting, and she spoke about the anxiety and the angst that persons had, if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Osborne, about seeing visually on the agenda. So that being said, Madam Superintendent, do we plan to have it on the agenda each time we meet until we are able to pick it back up, or what's your thoughts around that?
Well, I'd certainly defer to the board in regard to what meets your needs, but we added it here to the agenda, certainly because this was an opportunity to, again, revisit. Since our last board meeting, the board did share a public statement in regards to where we stood with redistricting and wanted to have an opportunity to speak to that here in this forum. But if there aren't any needs to add it to the agenda for discussion here in the interim, we certainly do not need to continue that and can add it again when the board is ready. But again, I defer to what meets board member needs.
Okay, so then therefore, in between now and our next meeting, we'll discuss that as far as whether or not to put it on the agenda if we're not going to do any movement in regards to it, okay?
Thank you. I'll wait for that.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Superintendent.